All right, so I need to begin the video with a disclaimer. One, I'm not clairvoyant. I cannot guarantee you lower interest rates. I only can tell you what I believe the market will do based on the information that I receive, and just know that this is my opinion only. Two, I cannot discuss what rates are with you. I don't know your particular loan scenario, your credit score, your income, what type of property you're buying, what occupancy you're going to have. And so if you are interested in learning what current market rates are, you can ask your loan officer, or you can go online and go to websites like Bankrate or Mortgage News Daily that have an average of what the median rate is in the country. There's always fine print for how you get their lowest targeted rate. And then also there's fine print too about what qualifies. So just know that that is marketing to get you to call, but it does give you a general idea of where rates are, throughout the country. All right, so let's dig in here. Why do I think that there's going to be lower rates on the horizon? So if you've been following this channel or watching my Instagram over the last 2 years, you will have heard me report about how inflation has been impacting mortgage-backed securities. Basically, the higher inflation got, the more pressure the government felt that they needed to put on the Fed funds rate, which would make it more expensive for banks and for companies to borrow money. It's been one hell of a year. I saw mortgage interest rates start off in the threes, end up close to 8%. And it was just so inconsistent, up and down and up and down. And if I was a buyer in 2022, I would have been really scared. But as somebody who, one, studies the economy and has worked in mortgages, I have seen a couple different economic cycles. And so I know that when the government intervenes in order to stimulate or to slow down, I know that those measures are temporary. And so long as I pay attention to what economic thing they're trying to fix, in this case, inflation, once we saw, a consistent improvement in that, we could generally gauge that this would be the time in which we would start seeing a decline in mortgage rates. And so that's what we started seeing at the end of December, and we are seeing it again in January. And so long as our inflation reports show that the economy is slowing down and we're entering into a recession, it's pretty safe bet to know that interest rates are coming down. Now, obviously the market never just goes like straight up or straight down. It's more like a staggered staircase up and down. You know that the market moves all the time. Like this past Friday, there was a whole bunch of news about, China loosening up its COVID restrictions. And anytime that there is positive global economic news, sometimes we see some changes in our bond market. So mortgage-backed securities weren't that great on Friday, but that is all just normal stuff. And the long-term picture is that mortgage rates are going down. Now, I want to talk about how this impacts you as the consumer. Well, lower interest rates are going to make houses more affordable in terms of monthly payment, or it's going to increase your buying power. So if you were somebody who got pre-qualified, I would say like in the peak, right, where interest rates were approaching 8%, now is a really good time to revisit your pre-qualification because interest rates are significantly lower than then. And 1% increase in interest rates, guys, decreases your buying power about 10%. So a drop in 1% is actually going to be able to increase your buying power. So I would definitely check that out. And then also just to kind of give you some relative savings in terms of monthly payment. And this is obviously dependent on how much you borrow. But on average, a 1% increase to your monthly payment is, somewhere between close to $200 to $300 a month, right? If you were borrowing, $350 and up. And so it's a great time right now if you are a buyer to consider updating your pre-qualification or jumping back into the market. Now, it's hard for me, even working in mortgages and paying as close of attention to mortgage-backed securities and the economy, inflation, to know how low interest rates are going to get. I think honestly, anyone who gives you that information is just giving you their opinion, and opinions are only as good as the person giving it. And so I will tell you that I follow a variety of economists, and the spectrum of where they predict interest rates to get to are 4.25% all the way to 6.25%, and that's a huge range. And so because I've never been a believer in timing the market, I think you buy when your budget says it's ready. And your budget says it's ready when you can safely afford your lifestyle and can save money at the same time. And you're not prohibited from paying down debt. And so for me, that's 70% of my total net take home income for lifestyle, 10% to savings, and 20% towards debt reduction. And if you have no debt, then it's 30% towards investments. And so, I mean, I think that right now there is some really important factors that you'll want to be paying attention to if you're a consumer. And they are that most people haven't caught on to the fact that interest rates are shifting downward. And this gives you a very unique opportunity because sellers are still very flexible with their purchase prices and paying buy down fees and paying closing costs and repairs. And the more people that jump back into the buyer pool, the lesser supply we're gonna have. And we are, just so you guys know, historically low in inventory. Because people still have, under a 4% mortgage, not a lot of people are, motivated right now to sell their properties. And we were already tight on inventory before interest rates rose. Everything comes down to supply and demand. The lower interest rates go, the more people that enter the market, the less flexible sellers are going to be. There's already news article, guys, coming out about how there is going to be a very quick shift back into a seller's market because of the low inventory that we are seeing. I mean, we are nationally under a 3-month supply of homes, and that is just historically low, and builders have still not picked up their building, and we are just, quite frankly, still in a housing shortage. So if you are a consumer, right now, these next couple of weeks might be the best time to get a discount in price, to get your closing costs paid for, to maybe get a temporary buy down and take advantage of those market conditions and a drop in rates. And I've never been one to be like, buy now, refinance later, except that we find ourselves in a time where we know that there are going to be lower rates. And so if your budget says it's a go, I wouldn't be scared to make that investment and then understand that today you're marrying the property and you're just dating the interest rate. So I'd love to answer your questions on this because I imagine that there's a variety of different emotions and thoughts, especially because I am a salesperson explaining to you why I think now is a good time. And that always, brings up tons of different things for people like, oh, of course she's going to say that because she works in real estate. And I know that there's tons of feelings about a salesperson talking to you about the advantages of buying now. But I don't think that there's enough content coming from people like me about when to take advantage of good opportunities. And yes, I am a salesperson. Yes, my job is to tell you what I think is good about each entire climate. But generally speaking, the best investment rules are buy when your budget says it's ready, invest for the long term. Real estate is a long-term investment that doubles every 20 years. And so if you follow those principles, you will not lose in real estate, right? Aside from any kind of catastrophic or economic event in your personal life. And so I hope that this information is helpful to you guys. I hope that you can use it, share it with a friend. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or my team. All of my information is on this YouTube channel or on my Instagram account. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and then stay tuned for our live information that I will be posting in the next week.